Hi, guys, and welcome to the channel where we talk about all things related to cruising over 50 or cruising with mobility issues. My name is Raquel Molina, and in this video, we're going to talk about 5 big reasons that someone who's maybe a little bit older or has mobility issues might consider or be a little bit fearful about when they're considering taking a cruise. Are you or your traveling companion considering a cruise this year, but are unsure if your mobility needs will be met? Or maybe you're thinking of traveling with your parent or a spouse or partner and are wondering how they'll manage if they have a wheelchair or a scooter. Or maybe you're in your 40s or 50s and you'll be traveling with someone older who has special needs, but you want to know if there's going to be anything on board that you'll want to do. Well, let me tell you, cruising isn't for everyone, but it is definitely my favorite way to travel. If you can relate to any of these or need some tips to help convince someone or yourself to cruise, then keep on watching as I bust 5 myths related to cruising. Also, if you find this content helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps so much. Okay, let's get into it. One of my favorite traveling partners is my 80-year-old mom. She was a little nervous about cruising with a scooter initially, but now she has found her confidence and loves cruising. If she can conquer her cruising fears, then I believe you can too. So let's face 5 fears that keep would be cruisers from taking their first cruise. Many first time cruisers are worried that they will get out to sea and become nauseated due to the movement of the ship on the water. This was more of an issue years ago because the stabilizers used by cruise ships weren't as advanced as the systems used now. The term used for a ship's motion in the ocean is roll, and it's totally normal. However, in most cases, you won't feel the ship move at all because of the modern stabilizers used. There are some weather related instances that can cause a ship to roll more than usual, but don't worry. Here are a few tips to manage or avoid seasickness. Tip number 1: cruise during the summer months. It has been my experience that the seas, especially in the Caribbean, tend to be a bit choppier in the winter. Also, be aware that hurricane season is from June 1st to November 30th, but most hurricanes don't seem to occur before late August. One of the rockiest cruises I ever took was in December, so I now avoid Caribbean cruises during that month. Tip number 2: book a midship cabin. When it comes to motion, location can matter. Rooms located in the lower midship areas will not feel as much motion as forward or aft cabins. The Rocky cruise that I took last time in December was located at the very front of the ship. I now try to avoid these rooms, but sometimes it can get a little tricky because most of the accessible rooms are either in the forward or aft. My suggestion is to book early so that you can secure a centrally located cabin. Tip number 3: book a larger ship. When it comes to motion, the size of the ship can matter. Smaller ships tend to roll more in rocky water, so booking a larger vessel can improve your chances to not feel motion. Tip number 4: pack motion sickness remedies. If you are really concerned about motion sickness, you might consider wearing a C-band, which is a bracelet that can keep you from getting that queasy feeling. I have used both C-bands and Dramamine as a precaution if I am anticipating rocky seas. One of my favorite remedies, however, is sipping some hot ginger tea. You may not be able to find it on board, so be sure to pack some if you think it will be helpful. My overwhelming experience has been that you're unlikely to feel the ship moving at all. As a mature cruiser, you might be concerned that the cruise line will not be able to meet your dietary needs. As we get older, we sometimes get food sensitivities or even just food preferences, and it is important that the cruise line be able to meet our needs. The good news is that every cruise line I've traveled does a lot to meet these needs. I found that the cruise lines are very responsive and accommodating when it comes to making sure that everyone is served food that meets their needs. While sailing on Virgin voyages, we were never served food without being asked if we had food allergies or sensitivities. If you have a more unique dietary requirement, you can contact the cruise line ahead of time to give them an opportunity to prepare for your requests. Every cruise line is different, but if they are able, they will do their best to accommodate you. Most of the major cruise lines are quite experienced in helping cruisers with things like storing medication that has to be refrigerated or providing distilled water to use with their CPAP machine. There is usually an online form or special email that you can use to make the cruise line aware of your medical request. It is important that you or your travel agent notify them in advance. For people on dialysis, most cruise lines require that it be controlled for at least a year before clearing you to cruise. The cruise ship will have a medical clinic for small medical urgent care, but keep in mind that the cost is not included in your fare and it can be pretty expensive. Even if you have trip insurance, which I highly recommend, you will still likely have to pay up front and then be reimbursed. This is why I always travel with my own first aid kit that will include my personalized essentials. Some people new to cruising might imagine that the time spent at sea between ports is filled with bingo, trivia, or watching the waves roll by. While I personally enjoy all of those things, rest assured that there are many activities to fill your time any way that you like, from shopping to the casino to pub crawls to dancing, specialty dining, unique classes like cake decorating or making sushi. You are sure to run out of time before you run out of things to do. So, perhaps one of the most critical concerns that older cruisers might have is just how difficult or easy will it be to navigate the cruise ship with mobility limitations, especially embarkation and debarkation. You or your loved one might dread the thought of having to walk from one end of the ship to the other or having difficulty getting on and off of the ship for excursions. Or you might be self conscious about using a mobility aid at sea. My passion is to encourage people with mobility concerns to travel confidently and safely. I believe that with proper planning, you can cruise and have a wonderful time. If you will be using a mobility aid, whether it's a wheelchair, scooter, or cane, know that you will not be alone. Not only will you see other cruisers with devices, but I've always found the staff to be so helpful and welcoming and love seeing my mom getting around on her scooter. When booking excursions, you will be able to see the difficulty level and if it's considered accessible or not. I know that Princess has certain excursions that are designed specifically to be accessible. So, I hope I was able to quell your concerns about cruising as a senior or someone with mobility concerns. If you have any concerns that I haven't mentioned or any ideas to share with our community, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.